it's hard to, how do I want to say this? As we go through, 16 years of grade school, high school, and college, we have certain expectations on what's real, what's possible, what's doable, what's believable, and even earning income and things of that nature. And most people never come across this information. So number one, I want to congratulate you guys for being here today. Number two, I want to give you guys a minute, and I put it in the chat, I'll do it again. I want to give you guys a minute to share this on your social media feeds. I want to get this out, get this message out. This is recorded for those of you that registered in the Wealth Mindset group. You'll get the recording all nice and bundled up. But I want you guys to get out there and share this, because I promise you the information we're going to teach you today and during the course of the week, all throughout the week at 12 o'clock, it's going to impact your life in more ways than one, probably ways that you are not aware of yet. Why don't we go ahead and jump in, guys? Again, we're going to be working today on mindset. I'm going to give you a little bit about the history of where this comes from, and we're going to teach you how the world's wealthiest people really think and act and operate and process information. Then tomorrow we have goal setting. Now, I know that goal setting seems like a pretty traditional topic, but almost nobody is teaching goals in such a way that would indicate that they understand goals, right? A goal is meant to make you grow and stretch and think. And then on Wednesday, we're going to talk about paradigms. We're going to talk about the programs that are controlling all of your results. And then on Thursday, the fourth day, I want to make sure you guys bookmark that one. You don't want to miss that one. We're going to get into sales and self-image and decision-making. Probably the most impactful lesson of the week. And then on Friday, we get something special planned for you guys. So again, today we're going to be working on mindset. So get your notebooks, get a fresh cup of coffee, and we're going to get started here. Really looking forward to helping you guys out. So I always like to start some of our seminars and webinars with the story of the fly, because I think it really highlights what I was doing. I know that much. I was bouncing off that window for 40 years, right? I was working harder in certain field. I was working harder in engineering. I was working harder in construction, trying to get ahead and trying to become wealthy, not just get ahead. I wanted to become a multimillionaire. I always have. And I had never been around any multimillionaires, right? And that's part of the problem. It's an environmental thing. But the reason I like this story, if you take a look at this picture, really take a look at this too, this represents most of humanity. Most people are taught by their parents, they're taught by society, put your head down, grind it out. I hear this phrase all the time, rise and grind it out. And I mean, does that sound fun? Grinding out the next 40 years? I mean, nobody wants to grind. What you want to do is move like water and be calm and confident. Now, you can be very, very impactful and very, very successful, but you can move like water. So guys, type a 1 in the chat if you'd rather work easier and more effortlessly instead of harder and harder and grinding out, right? I mean, nobody really wants to grind, right? There's some ones, awesome. So take a look at this fly, right? Now this represents most people. The fly wants to get to the outside world. The objective or the goal is to get to the outside world. And it's focusing all of its energy on trying to break through the glass, right? Buzzing off that glass. But meanwhile, with a simple shift in awareness, right? A simple shift in awareness, it could easily and effortlessly just fly to the bottom of the window and right out. You guys see what that is? Now that's what I was doing. So I had my construction company, but I wasn't aware of how to earn money online. Now I have a dozen revenue streams online and growing, right? So there's always easier, there's always more, and there's always better. We're going to teach you a little bit about that here today in the mindset and really help you guys to free your thinking. So I look at this picture here, guys. This is what the freeways look like. When you're driving on the highway, and if you're driving today, you're probably going to laugh in your car. Think about this. This is what the highways look like. People are driving to jobs that they hate. They're literally driving to jobs that they hate. And I can't remember. I've never really hated a job. When I worked at the General Electric company as an engineer, I actually liked it. I liked what we were doing. I mean, I was building wealth for somebody else, but it wasn't like I hated it. I know people that actually hate their job and they still drive to the job day after day. And it's not their fault. It's nobody's fault. It just comes from ignorance and comes from not being aware of how to build life and really craft a life that you don't need a vacation for. So type a 7 in the chat, guys. If you want to learn how to build a life that you don't need a vacation from, that's what we're going to show you this week. And that might sound like a lot of fluff, but it's not. I literally, I work from my lake house. Most of you that know me know this, and it's nice and sunny out. The water's out there. I mean, I'm in my comfy clothes, and I pretty much just come and go as I please. And I crafted this life from understanding this information that we teach. We're going to share that with you here as well. So the first thing I got to get you to understand is that wealth is 95% mindset. It's 95% mindset, and it's only 5% what you do. So what does that really mean? That seems like a big number, doesn't it? I want you guys to think about this. It doesn't really matter what you do for a living, like whatever you're doing, you can scale and grow and leverage on the internet. There's so many ways to earn lots of money doing what you love to do. So it doesn't matter what you do as much as it does the mindset behind it. I'm going to prove this to you a little bit here, right? If you've ever seen the New York Stock Exchange, you've seen the floor looks like this. The trading floor looks, traders from all over the world, they're hustling, they're grinding, right? And they're trying to get their cheese. They're trying to get their little piece of pie, right? So you can be a stock trader like these people here, or you could be like my main man, Warren Buffett, and be a stock trader. Now I want you to really think about this. Now, obviously he's not on the trading floor, but he trades companies. He builds and trades companies, right? He buys and holds and builds and trades companies. So the only difference is mindset. So guys, this is the first thing I want you to think about today. Write down on your notes or whatever you're taking notes on, what is it that you do for income? What is it that you do for income? Or what are the multiple things you do for income? And then I want you to think for a minute, do you know anybody in the world that's doing what you do in earning, 7 figures a year or 7 figures a month? I'm not saying you want to earn 7 figures a year or a month, but I'm assuming that's why you came to this masterclass, is to really learn how to build wealth. Now, if the answer is no, you can't think of anybody that's earning that kind of money in your profession, then you might want to pick some other things to do on the side, right? You might want to build and scale and grow some businesses on the side, and we can teach you guys that too. And we're going to give you a blueprint on Thursday. Make sure you don't miss Thursday, guys. I'm telling you, we're literally going to give you a blueprint to create the wealth that you want, create the life that you want, create the relationships, the happiness, the body that you want. Literally going to give you the same blueprint that I used to grow my construction company from $1 million to 10 million in 12 months. All right, guys. Hey, Robert, what's up, brother? Good to see you. So it's mindset, mindset, mindset. Now, some of you might be in real estate. You might be realtors or in real estate. And you can be like these people here. They're all smiling. They're pretty happy, Or you could be like this guy here. He looks just a little bit happy. Grant Cardone, he's controlling about $2 billion in real estate now, and he earns over $150 million a year from his other companies. And it's the same vertical, but a different mindset. Different mindset. Now, I'm not saying you want to straddle the jet engine of your G5 engine, but that'd be pretty cool. He looks fairly happy, So it's always going to be mindset, right? Now, some of you watching this, probably a lot of you are in network marketing. And you could be in network marketing like these people here. There's about 150 million people around the world that are in network marketing and growing. Or you could be like Mr. Alex Morton. And if you don't know Alex, he's a young guy. He's in his late 20s, I believe. And he's a 7-figure a month earner. 20-something years old, 7-figure a month earner. He studies the same exact stuff that we study and that we teach in the Thinking and Results program. So think about that. Same industry, different information, different environment, right? And different results. So guys, how many of you want to have results like this kid here, like 7 figures a month or 7 figures a year? Type in the chat if you want to increase, if you want to 10x, put a 10x in the chat like Grant Cardone, right? If you want to scale and grow and leverage and monetize your revenue streams. All right, guys, so it's mindset, mindset, mindset. Hopefully I've given you enough examples here to understand that it has little to do with you. None of this is your fault, right? It's not your fault where you are right now. It wasn't my fault that I was failing up until age 43. And like I said, I've had an amazing life. There's no regrets. I've had a beautiful life. But as far as financially, my results would say that I wasn't really hitting on all cylinders, But I've always known, I'm like, Jesus, I've always had the feeling that I was going to be a multimillionaire. Always had that. But I wasn't in the environment. Hey, Maurice, what's up, brother? Yes, it is done. 10X, a lot of 10Xs in the chat. Love it, love it, love it. Anybody out there going for 100X? I love it. So guys, we're going to work on goals and paradigms in sales this week. But today we're going to work on mindset. Because there's no sense teaching you the rest of it if you don't understand a little bit about mindset and understand a little bit about why you're programmed the way you're programmed and how to rewire that thinking. And that's what I'm going to help you with here today. So I'm going to give you a little history, right? None of what I'm teaching you here is my opinion. This is not my opinion. this information, it goes back since the beginning of time, but as of recent times, in the late 1800s, the world's first recorded billionaire, think about this, the world's first billionaire in the late 1800s, he's the CEO and owner of the United States Steel Corporation, Andrew Carnegie. And the mindset that we teach is the same exact mindset that this gentleman had, and he didn't want to take it to the grave. So he inspired a young Napoleon Hill to capture this information, to spend 25 years interviewing the world's wealthiest people like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, and the Rockefellers. And Napoleon Hill, many of you know him from the author of the Think and Grow Rich series of books. Those books have made more millionaires and billionaires than any other publication in history. So I want you guys to think about that. Because Napoleon, he mentored Earl Nightingale. Right? And Earl Nightingale was in the 50s and 60s. He was on the radio, and he was talking about this wealth mindset, this information. It's called The Secret back then, right? The Strangest Secret. And it is strange that this is not taught in school, but it actually makes sense now, doesn't it? I don't really think the school systems want to breed entrepreneurs, right? I think the system needs more workers, and I guess it is what it is. I mean, everybody needs people to pump gas and to work at Walmart and things of that nature. But I'm guessing you guys are here because you don't want to be part of that percentage of people. I'm guessing you're here because you want to break out, right? You want to live the life like most people don't live. All right, put a fire in the chat. See if we can get some fire in the chat. If you're serious about living life like most people don't get to live, if you're committed to the information, if you're committed to working with us this week, showing up all 5 days, taking good notes, we're going to give you the answers, all right? And Earl Nightingale actually mentored my mentor, Bob Proctor. Now, many of you might know Bob from the movie The Secret. I think that was viewed by almost 1 billion people or 500 million people. And it really put Bob on the map. So, but none of the information that we teach is mine. It's not Bob's. This is physics. This is the science of achievement. There is a blueprint. There is a teachable, coachable blueprint towards wealth building. We're going to give it to you on Thursday. I'm going to give you the same blueprint that I used to create multiple companies. I'm CEO of a software company, a gaming company, clothing. I have a lot of different things. And guys, I don't say this to impress you. I say it to impress upon you. You know, if I can do this, anybody can do it. I promise you. I've taught this information to my daughter. She's teaching it. She's 24 years old. She's teaching people all over the world the blueprint to success, right? And there is a blueprint to this. So I've been very, very blessed and grateful to be mentored by Bob Proctor one-on-one many times. And I work with Bob still. He's a personal friend and mentor and just an amazing human being. He hasn't needed money in 6 decades, right? Bob hasn't needed money in 6 decades. And he really does it for the love of this. And I do the same thing. What we do here in the Matrix, I do for the love of it. You know, I'm building businesses just like a bunch of you guys on the side. But I love teaching and coaching and training. I've really committed my life to this work. I'll be doing this all the way up until the end. So guys, welcome to the Masterclass. It's my pleasure and honor to be here working with you and teaching you this information. And again, you know, a little bit about my backstory. Like I said, I'm not afraid to share the ups and downs. I've been divorced a couple of times. I've lost money in businesses. You know, I've taken multiple 6-figure hits in business, but it's all been a learning journey, right? And if it wasn't for that journey, I wouldn't have gone down the road of network marketing, and I wouldn't have gone down the road of meeting Bob Proctor and getting in front of this information. And then I had to make some serious decisions. When I was 43 years old, I had to invest $30,000 into my education, right? Into the wealth mindset training. And thank God I did, because the rest is history. I was able to use that information to literally scale my construction company from $1 million to $10 million in 12 months. So if anybody here is in construction, if you're in the trades, if you're an electrician, a plumber, I can show you how to use this information to scale your existing business. And I still have this company, but it's the smallest company I have now. Imagine that what used to be the biggest company I had is now the smallest thing that I do. Think about that. And guys, I was able to use this information to grow a whole bunch of other companies. Like I said, I'm the CEO of a software company. I'm the #2 income earner in our network marketing company. We have a gaming company that's a lot of fun. And we have the Matrix Success Network, which is a consulting company, which is what I'm working with my daughter Madison in. And again, I don't say any of this to impress you guys. I mean, I don't know how to say this any other way. If I can do it, you can do it. We teach people every single day, all the world. I think we have people in over 20 countries now that we're working with and teaching the same exact blueprint that we can teach to you guys here. So I want to take a little bit of a deep dive into the mindset, guys. And before we do that, I gotta bring you up to speed a little bit on some of the universal laws that are really controlling and governing your success, right? I was able to form all these companies that you see here. And, you know, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to the Harvard School of Business. See, entrepreneurs, we don't plan to start companies. We just start companies. You guys see the difference? We get an idea and we just start. And we talk to people, we get mentors, we do whatever it is, but we just start. All right, guys. So before we dig into the mindset, I want to talk about these 7 universal laws that are having a massive, massive impact on your life. Now, guys, I didn't know anything about these laws, and I went to school for engineering. I mean, I guess I knew a little bit of the law of vibration from, engineering, but not like we're talking about here. So this universal law of vibration, there's a law of perpetual transmutation of energy. That's a mouthful. That's a total mouthful. But the transmutation of energy is like, an acorn turns into an oak tree, and then the oak tree dies, goes back into the soil. It's a continuous flow of energy. It's the same thing as you. When you were born, you moved into your body. You're going to have a physical human experience, and then you're going to move out. But there's no such thing as death. All right. There's only transmutation of energy. And that's a whole nother webinar. We have the law of polarity, or the law of opposites. See, there's no such thing as good or bad until you label it. You have to label something good or bad. Even COVID right now, it's not good or bad. It just is. Matter of fact, our businesses have been flourishing, absolutely flourishing. And in the history of my business, I've never had more growth in such a short period of time than COVID. Yet most people find themselves struggling, right? We have the law of rhythms. This is like the ocean, right? The tide goes in, the tide goes out, and you have winter, spring, summer, fall. It never goes winter, winter, summer, winter, right? So we have all these universal laws. We have the law of gender. We have the law of relativity. I'm going to say this a bunch of times, and hopefully it sinks in. There's no such thing as big or small. 100,000 a month is not big or small. It might be big compared to what you're used to, but once you start to play around with this, I can show you how to make $100,000 in a day. And that's not a joke. That's not just me bragging about something. That's actual fact. I teach this to 20-year-old kids, right? And then we have the law of gestation. So I'm only going to talk about a couple of these laws, guys, really just to get you to understand that if you do certain things in a certain way, you can get in harmony with these laws. But when we talk about these universal laws, I got to give you some sort of a reference point, right? There's a universal law of gravity too. And nobody here on the webinar today, nobody here watching, and we're running on multiple platforms, so congratulations for chiming in all over the world. Nobody can explain gravity. I challenge anybody, you can't explain gravity, because the most erudite physicists in the world can't even explain gravity. It's this invisible force, right? It's this invisible thing, but if you go to the top of a building and jump off, the universal law of gravity is going to have a major impact and probably even kill you. Think about that. So we have all these universal laws. Well, the 7 laws I just gave you are no different. They're universal laws. But take a look at gravity, right? We've gotten in harmony with gravity, haven't we? Right? We don't know anything about it. We know very little about it, but we have learned enough to get in harmony with it. So guys, what do you think will happen to your life when I teach you the universal laws governing wealth building? Think about that. What can you imagine? Type in the chat. What can you imagine? Where do you see yourself in 12 months by taking a deep dive into the information of like a Henry Ford or Thomas Edison or Warren Buffett? Where can you imagine you'd be in 12 months with us taking a deep dive together? Because I can show you how to get in harmony with the law of compensation. There's actually a law to compensation, right? It's the need for what you do. It's your ability to do it and how easily you're replaced. All right, guys? So I want to teach you a little bit about these laws, and let's start with vibration. A lot of you have probably seen the movie The Secret, and it probably left you a little curious because you probably thought that you had to just put a bunch of pictures on a wall and things would show up, right? There's even a movie out right now. If anybody here has seen the movie The Secret that's out right now, they're hitting the surface level of what we teach, right? But vibration is a primary law, and I'll give you a good example. If you took an acorn off the ground and held it in your hand, right? It's going to be actually got a little golden acorn over here somewhere. Somebody gave me one of these things, a little golden acorn. Right? If you took an acorn and you held it in your hand, it's at a very low rate of vibration. It appears to be solid. But now if I take this little acorn, this little golden acorn here, and I put it in a little bit of soil in the right environment, the vibration of the acorn is going to increase. And you can see this under a microscope. It's not my opinion. And what you'll see happen is you'll see all the nutrients, all the little particles of water and soil and all the minerals, everything that an acorn needs will start to dance right towards that acorn. And you can see this under a microscope. I want you to really think about this. Now, this little acorn, when I put it in the soil, it's not like the soil doesn't just clump around and attract. Only what it needs is going to dance towards the acorn, right? So that's an increase of vibration invoking the law of attraction. That's what the law of attraction is. So attraction responds to vibration, guys. And this is exactly how an acorn turns into an oak tree. So one of the things we teach is we teach you how to raise your vibration. Wouldn't you like to know how to do that? When you raise your vibration, you can attract all the wealth, the people, the relationships, everything that you need to become the higher, fuller expression of yourself. Does that make sense, guys? So the next time you hear about the law of attraction, understand that attraction responds to vibration. Change your vibration, you change your entire world. It's not my opinion. This is physics. This is how Henry Ford created the Ford Motor Company. You know, his parents were immigrants and he was broke. Like, how did he do that? You know, how did Steve Jobs create the Apple company with $750 in a garage? Well, now Steve Jobs can't articulate this, especially now because he passed away. But when he was alive, he did not know how to articulate and teach this, but we do. I can literally show you exactly how Steve Jobs' mind works, right? And I want you to imagine what that information would do for you in your career, in your life. Yeah, Jennifer, I love that too. So guys, here's another example, right? This is a transmutation of energy. Now, I told you before I was a builder and an architect, and when a homeowner, a young couple would come to me, I want you to pay attention to this one. This is going to blow your mind. You guys are doing this all the time, but you don't know it, right? Everything is in a constant transmutation of energy. Anytime you pass a thought from your mind to somebody else's and you cause that person to move, it's a transmutation of energy. Think about that. So if anybody here has ever built a house, you had an idea for building the house. You went to an architect. You explained it. You used the English language or whatever language you speak. Well, language is sound. Language is movement, right? It's vibration. That's all it is. It's using your vocal cords to vibrate the ether to transmit to my ears, and I interpret that as meaning something. Does that make sense? So you get this young couple, and they get an idea for a home. Maybe it's got a 3-stall garage. It's got a major kitchen, 2.5 baths, 5 bedrooms, whatever it is. And they start to transmute that idea to the architect. Now, the architect takes that information. Is what I used to do. I used to design on the computer, and I would print out a set of blueprints, and I would give them to the site contractor. And the site contractor, next thing you know, machinery shows up. And by the way, this is my BMK construction. This was an $8 million home we did in Weston. It was a very, very fun project. Next thing you know, the excavator's digging a hole, and the site contractor, he thinks he's working. Well, he is working, right? He doesn't realize that this is a transmutation of thought energy. The homeowner had a thought that is now causing this man to move a machine and dig a hole. So now the physical representation of the thought shows up. Does this make sense, guys? I want you to think about this and put a 7 in the chat if this has resonated. If you've ever built a home, you're invoking the law of transmutation of energy. This is the law of attraction, right? From the nothing, from the no thing of a thought to the something. And the next thing you know, the foundation guy shows up and they pour a foundation. Now he thinks he's working, but this is a physical representation of a thought. Does this make sense? And then the framers, the roofers, the windows go in, right? The mechanicals. And the next thing you know, you have an $8 million home. Think about this, guys. This is a transmutation of energy. And if you can do it for something small, you can do it for something big. There's no such thing as big or small. So now that I've given you a little bit about these 2 universal laws, like you need to understand vibration if you want to succeed at a high level. Unless you're an unconscious competent like a Steve Jobs, that's 1 in a million. For the rest of us, you need to study with us. You need to take a 6-month deep dive with us and follow the blueprint called Thinking into Results, like a lot of our clients do. But I want you to imagine this. Imagine if you went to the top of a building and decided you were going to ignore the universal law of gravity. Think about this. Really think about this. If you would I'm just going to test this out. I'm like, here I go. And maybe the universal law of gravity will it'll just float me down today, right? No, there's no emotion to these laws. You're either in harmony with these laws or you're not. And most of the world is not, by the way. I would say a good 97% of the people have no idea what I'm talking about here. And most people go to their grave never having achieved much of anything, unfortunately. And I don't want that for you guys, right? I don't want that. I wish somebody had given me this information when I was in my teens. I mean, it is what it is, but, and I was very blessed to give this information to my daughter in her teens. And now she's crushing 6 figures a month and just creating a life of love and happiness and wealth and health. And it's been beautiful to watch, but I was like, man, I wish somebody had this wealth masterclass when I was younger. So don't underestimate the value this week, guys. You know, don't blow this off. Don't underestimate it. And please share it too. I want to get this out to a lot of people. All right. So you wouldn't ignore the law of gravity. So you don't want to ignore these other laws either. All right, guys, we don't want to be ignorant. Now, ignorance is not a bad term. It just means not knowing. All right. So again, this week, we're going to teach you a lot about how the 1% thinks. We're going to teach you goals and paradigms and sales. I'm looking forward to Thursday when we teach you guys about the self-image and actually how to sell. And you're all in sales, by the way, so make sure you bookmark, make sure you show up for Thursday. But this is how the 1% thinks, right? Well, actually, this is how the masses think. Let me show you how the masses think first. This is how you're programmed, more than likely. This is how I was programmed. It's not my fault. It's not your fault either. But we're born in ignorance, and we're programmed to look at our results, aren't we? You're programmed to look at your report card, right? You're programmed to look at a report card. Oh, little Johnny's a D student. It's like, Johnny's not a D student. That's what he was thinking 3 months ago. And he was working with material that he wasn't even interested in. So those of you that are parents, I want you to think about this. Don't label your kids. Don't fall into that trap. More than likely, your kid is bored silly because he got a little bit of English, little science, little math, little history, and he's probably just bored silly, so he's not paying attention. But you notice that he does really, really good at video games, or really, really good at building things or taking things apart, or computers, right? Everybody's the same. Everybody has a conscious or subconscious in the body. So if you're looking at your results to cause your thinking, this is what the masses do, right? You look in the mirror, you look at your body, that's a result. And if you're not happy with your body, right, it puts you in a low vibration. So if you're looking at your current bank account, right, and you don't like your current bank account, that's not going to be a good feeling. But this is how you're programmed, and it's not your fault, right? You're programmed to look at your results. It causes your thinking for the day. You wake up on a Monday, you drive to your job, whatever, and you're just kind of in a vanilla mood. And it gives you these feelings that are in a low vibration. So I want to explain something here. The word feeling, it just means the conscious awareness of the vibration you're in. Think about that. If you tell me you feel sad, what you're saying is I am consciously aware that I'm in a low vibration. My body and my mind and my energy is in a low vibration. Does that make sense, guys? Type a 7 in the chat if that makes sense. I really want you to get this point. Feeling is vibration. If you say you feel happy, what you're saying is I'm consciously aware that I'm in a high vibration. All right? Now, why is this so important? Guys, it's so important to understand this because your feelings is what causes your actions. Your feelings are what cause your actions. It causes your body to move or not move. See, most people, this is what procrastination is, right? Now, what I want you to understand, guys, this is how the 1% thinks. And this is what we teach you over a 6-month period, right? We teach you how to have the new thinking. I can say this to you all day long. You can watch this masterclass and say, okay, I just need new thinking. But you have probably 30 or 40 or 50 years of virus code programming that we got to unwire, right? So we want you to start with the new thinking. Now, my new thinking is $10 million a month through multiple revenue streams, right? And it's just not, it's not big or small, it just is. And that's a stepping stone towards my bigger goal of $21 billion in net worth and assets. And that's not just something I'm making up. I have right here my vision book, right? And you can see my software company right next to Facebook and LinkedIn selling for $21 billion. And I have this vision book. We're going to talk more about that during the week too. But I have this new thinking, and the new thinking causes higher vibrations, new feelings, right? And these new feelings cause new actions. Now, if you're somebody that maybe you're trying to release weight, maybe you're overweight, you got to get the new image, right? You got to get the new thinking. We're going to talk about self-image later on in the week. And if anybody is trying to reduce weight, we can help you do that as well. But you can see here, this is how the 1% thinks. It's always new thinking causes higher vibrations, cause new actions, and new actions have to cause new results, don't they? Guys, take a look at this really quick. Take a screenshot if you can. Matter of fact, if you're registered, we'll get this out. I'll make sure my team gets this out to you guys. But this is not hard to explain. I could show this to a 5-year-old, right? And matter of fact, a 5-year-old is already thinking like this. We're born thinking like this. Oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want to be a fireman. We have all these visualizations, but then the school systems strip away our imagination, doesn't that? Sit down, look straight. 1 and 1 is 2, a little math, little English, right? And I'm not here to beat up on the school systems. If anybody here is in the educational field, I have the utmost respect for you, because you're working in a broken system with your hands handcuffed, right? You're probably not able to even teach the way you want to. You have to follow these curriculums that are 110 years old. All right, guys, so this is the way we want you guys thinking, like the 1%. And in order to get a little deeper here, I got to have you guys work with me. When I ask you about the mind, type in the chat, what do you think the mind looks like? What do you think the mind looks like? When I talk about the mind, a lot of people, it's a big question, isn't it? Right? But if we want to change something, how do we change something if we don't know what it looks like? So what do you guys, type in the chat, what do you guys think this looks like? A lot of people say spaghetti. What does the mind look like to you guys? A lot of people say it looks like a rainbow. I've seen that one before, right? Confusion. You see confusion a lot. A lot of people say it looks like the brain, this picture here, right? Guys, the mind, this confused me for a long time. Mush. A lot of people say mush. This was confusing to me at first too. When I was working with Bob, he asked me, he said, Brian, what does the mind look like? I said, I don't know. I said the brain, it's the organ of the brain, right? And he said, no, he said, the organ of your brain is just that. It's just an organ. It's an electronic switching station. Your brain is no more your mind than your heart or your fingernails or your skin. It just sends and receives electronic signals. I was like, okay, well, what is my mind then? Right? Well, guys, the mind is movement. The mind is energy. The mind is vibration. It's universal consciousness and it's individual consciousness. But even that is probably confusing to you guys, isn't it? All right, so I want to give you something here called the mind map. We call this the mind map or the stick person. And again, I could teach this to a 5-year-old. It's a couple of circles, a couple of lines, but it's meant to show you how the mind works, right? We have a conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind, and we have a body, right? Everybody has this equipment. You, me, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, right? Oprah Winfrey. We all have the same equipment, but we're born in ignorance, right? And we're born with negative thinking, usually in our environment. And whenever you have worry and doubt in the conscious mind, it produces the fear in your subconscious mind. Now, fear is an emotion, right? It's energy in motion. So if anybody here has fear, this is where it comes from. But I want you to understand something. Fear does not exist unless you put energy towards it. Let that one sink in. Fear does not exist unless you put energy towards it, right? Now, what happens with fear, remember I talked to you about transmutation of energy? You are in a constant transmutation of energy. Your thoughts are constantly transmuting to and through you, right? Now, most people get lulled to sleep and they're not thinking anymore. But what happens with fear is it has to express to and through your body as the physical form of anxiety. So guys, type a 1 in the chat if you've ever had anxiety. I know I used to a little bit. This was not a big problem for me. I know quite a few people, this is a crippling problem. It literally cripples them. They can't get out of bed. It leads to depression. So if you've ever had anxiety, this is why it is. And if you guys decide, if you make a decision this week, and some of you are going to, if you decide to work with us for 6 months, I promise you we'll show you how to release anxiety like that. You'll never have anxiety again. We'll give you the blueprint to it, right? So anxiety leads to procrastination. This is why people start up new companies like real estate or network marketing, and they procrastinate. They don't take action. This is why, right? The feeling of anxiety, we don't like that feeling. So it's easier to just stop moving and go sit on the couch and watch Netflix, watch other people living their dreams on TV than it is for us to move forward, right? So procrastination, guys, unfortunately, this is going to lead to depression over time. And the reason for this is human beings, we were born to create, guys. We were born to create. You have a consciousness. Well, God has a consciousness. We're part of the same consciousness. It's a two-way street. It's a co-creation, right? So if we're not creating, if you don't have something that you're going after, it gets very depressing. And a lot of people, a lot of parents, we have children and we occupy 20 or 30 years with the children. And we forget to create for ourselves outside of that. And then the kids leave and we're like, well, now what? Right? So don't get caught in that trap, guys. Make sure you're always creating. And if you don't know what to pursue, we can help you with that. You don't have to know how. We can help you with all this, all right? But this is where depression comes from. And depression eventually leads to dis-ease, which is a body not at ease. All right, guys, now look at the left side of the equation. This is how most of the world, about 97% of people, are programmed on this side of the equation. So if anybody here has anxiety, we're going to show you how to get rid of it. All right, guys. So the way the world's wealthiest people think and act and operate, they're on the side over here. They're on the right side of the equation. It comes from study and understanding. I've been studying this stuff for many, many years now and putting it into action. But it's positive thinking. Now, you're probably programmed to have negative thinking. The economy sucks, COVID sucks, my job sucks. That's just negative thinking, right? Less than 1% of the people are conditioned to only think positive thoughts. And this is why we work with people for 6 months, right? You're not going to learn it from one little webinar, but if you decide you want to change this stuff, you can change it. And it comes from study and understanding through positive thinking. Now, positive thinking leads to faith. Now, faith is not a religious term, although it could be. Faith is actually a mindset. It really is. It's the polar opposite. Remember I showed you the law of polarity? It's the polar opposite of fear. And if I went like this, right? Fear and faith are opposite sides of the same thing. They're not two separate things. They're opposite sides of the same thing. And you're either in fear or you're in faith at all times. Think about that. You're either in a faith-based mindset or a fear-based mindset at all times. There's no neutral, right? You can't be in both. And since that's the case, why don't we just choose faith, right? So faith leads to well-being and calmness. And when you get there, when you're just in a calm state of mind, anybody that knows me knows that I'm almost always in a calm state of mind. I get excited a lot, enthusiastic, right? But I don't sweat the small stuff, and I've had things blow up in business, and it just is what it is, right? But it leads to well-being, calmness, puts the body in motion, which is acceleration or action, right? And this leads to a body that's at ease, all right, guys? So this is called the mind map, and this is one of the things we study and we teach on when we teach people how to shift the paradigm. All right, guys, I want you to play along with me in the chat. Type in the chat, what does this picture look like to you? I found this picture on the internet. Take a look at this and type in the chat, what does this look like to you guys? Because this is how most people are walking on this earth. This is how most people are interacting today. It's a Monday. A lot of people say, Mondays suck. Monday's just as good as a Sunday. Like, I enjoy every single second of every single day. That wasn't always the case, right? But it is now. So guys, what do you think this looks like? Type in the chat. What do you think this looks like? Looks like confusion. Amy says confusion. Looks like chaos. Heather says chaos. Working harder than you need to. I like that. Right? Overthinking, stress, overwhelmed. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, this is what fear looks like. Take a look at this. This is what the emotion of fear looks like, or I should say the illusion of fear. This is what doubt looks like. If you start a business and then you doubt the next day, you're putting out negative thought energy. But more importantly, this is what worry looks like, right? If you guys are worrying, this is like praying for what you don't want. I'm going to say that one again. If anybody here is religious and you go to church and you pray, or you pray at home, well, worrying is like praying in the wrong direction. Does that make sense, guys? It's putting thought energy out in a low vibration to call into existence that which you don't want. All right, guys, so take a look at this picture. What does this picture look like to you guys? I get a lot of different results when I put this up. Take a look at this picture here and let me know what this represents to you. And I haven't met any of these people yet. I'll meet Steve at some point when we pass on. But there's some commonalities between these people, right? So what is this? What do these people look like? Bad hair day? What else does this look like to you guys? It looks like success, looks like maybe wealth, maybe confidence, happy, at ease, loving life. Yeah, I would think so. Although I don't think Steve Jobs really loved life. I saw some documentaries, I read some bios, I've read a lot about Steve Jobs. I don't know if he ever enjoyed life. I think he was just kind of on his own level. But the one thing I can promise you is this is what faith looks like. that make sense, guys? This is what faith looks like. These people don't wonder if they're going to be successful. Most of you are wondering if you're going to be successful. You start on a journey, you're working towards the thing, you go out on a limb, maybe you're writing a book, maybe you're starting a new company, maybe you just open up an Amazon store, but you wake up in the morning, you have that anxiety, you have that low vibration, you're wondering, is this going to work, is it not going to work? These people here, they don't wonder if it's going to work. My software company, I'm not wondering if this is going to work. I know it's going to work. Matter of fact, I know what it's going to sell for. I have faith in that, right? And this is what we teach over the 6 months together when we hold your hand through this stuff. So that's what faith looks like. All right, guys. So again, wealth is 95% mindset and only 5% what you do. Does this make a little bit more sense now? Put a fire in the chat if this is resonating. I know we get a lot of new people here. Put a fire in the chat if this is resonating. It doesn't matter what you do more as much as it does the mindset that you're in while you're doing it. All right, guys, that makes sense? So I want you to imagine this week, as we work together this week, right, as we take this deep dive together, I want you to imagine what your life would be like a year from now. 12 months goes by so fast, doesn't it? So fast. What would your life be like? Imagine what it would be like working together in this content, understanding how the world's wealthiest people think and act and operate. And I want to show you guys something. These pictures that I'm giving you here, they come right out of my vision book. They come right out of my vision book. I have a book right here on my desk with all the things that I desire, right? And it's not a money thing. If you're watching this and you're just getting to know us for the first time, wealth is not money, right? Wealth is a mindset. It's a heavenly life. It's health. It's physically fit. It's relationships, it's love, it's philanthropy, right? It's the whole human experience. And money is a piece of wealth, isn't it? But it's actually the easiest piece. If anybody here is struggling with money issues, we can cure that in 6 months. It's actually the most simple thing to do. And here's what happens. When you cure or when you enhance your relationship with money, everything else gets in line. I want you to think about all the problems you have in your life, and then take a look at what they're tied to. I can almost guarantee you that most of them are tied to money or a lack of it, right? Most of these problems, if you're working a job you hate, if you're battling at home with your spouse, most of the time it's money, right? That's what happened with one of my marriages. It was all about money. We had money too. It's just strange that we were arguing about it. We had plenty of money, but that was one of the stressors, right? Spending money, wasting money. But I want you to imagine, guys, imagine if you could work from a place like this. I'm going to be traveling most of the month of September, and all of my businesses come with me. We can show you guys this, right? So I want you to think about this and imagine, what would your life look like 12 months from now with us working together, right? Imagine all the places you could go. Imagine all the things. And then look at this statement here, because whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're correct. Henry Ford said this, one of the most impactful statements I've ever seen. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are correct. All right, guys? And the information that was in Henry Ford's mind is exactly what we teach in Thinking and the Results. And the information of this man here, the mindset of Warren Buffett is exactly what we teach in Thinking and the Results. And even this guy here, now it's so funny, Grant Cardone, he went on TV and he said, the law of attraction is a bunch of bullshit. Now Grant is very, very successful in real estate. I'll give him that. He's very successful as a coach, very successful marketer, but he's completely ignorant when it comes to the mind, because he is a living example of the law of attraction. He had a paradigm shift in his 40s, set up a different frequency of thought, and attracted everything that he now calls his life, including that jet that he's driving around on, right? But he doesn't know how to teach and articulate this. This is why you can take every course from Grant Cardone and maybe not much will happen. You're going to improve your sales skills, but by and large, a lot of people, it might just sit on the shelf, right? But the information we teach is exactly how his mind works, right? And same thing here. If you guys know Alex, you should Google him, Alex Morton. I just really think it's cool because he's in his 20s, 7 figures a month, in his 20s, just really crafting a life. He's getting married soon. And he just really crafted a life using the exact information that we teach. And when I tell you I could teach this to a 5-year-old, I'm not kidding you. All right, guys, so I want you to pay attention all week. Pay attention all week. And then again, some of you are going to make a decision to really impact and change your life. So we're going to be going over the science of wealth building all week long, all right? We're going to be doing goals tomorrow. There's a science of goal setting. There's a science of goal achieving, right? And we're going to take paradigms on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about sales and self-image on Thursday. And then I got a big surprise for you guys on Friday. All right, guys. So I want to make sure you're paying attention all week. Again, we're going to be showing a blueprint. We're going to give you the blueprint to success on Thursday, but I can't give you the blueprint today because I needed to set up some understanding and some awareness around what the mindset is, right? It's not, I can't just go, and give you the information. We have to get you to think a little bit. Take your notes. Make sure that you're working in your worksheets too. There's only a couple of questions, and these are for you to journal, right? On the first page of the questions, it talks about your mindset, kind of, understanding where the masses are, understanding where you're at, and understanding where you want to be. So make sure you're working in the worksheets. There's not a lot to it, a couple of minutes every night. I think you can probably do that. And I want you to think about something here. I love what Albert Einstein said. He said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So guys, we don't want to do that. I was stuck for 43 years. I don't want you to stay stuck, right? I want to impact you guys this week. Make sure you're showing up. The other thing too, guys, make sure you're sharing this link. Now that you've gotten a taste of what we're doing, the next 4 days are going to be really, really impactful. Today was just kind of a warm up. I was getting you guys conditioned with the mind. Make sure you share this with your friends and family. I want to see this blow up. I want to see this thing going viral, and I want to see this information being shared with people all over the world. All right, guys. So that's my bit for today. That's a little bit on mindset. And what I want to do is just encourage you guys to get into the chats, talk about stuff in the chats. We're going to be getting in there, and we're going to be showing you guys a lot more stuff during the week, and be interacting with you in the chats. So get into the Wealth Mindset group, give some love to everybody, get to know each other. This group is going to be growing and growing and growing. There's a couple thousand people in there now, but we're going to grow this to tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands all over the world. So this is just a kickoff to what is the Wealth Mindset. All right, everybody, have a great day. Be well, and God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.